Good evening and welcome to Peoria City Council meeting. I hereby call the meeting of November 4th, 2025 to order. Those who are able, please stand for the invocation by Pastor Stacy Lukowitz. Got that correct, right? From Fresh Start Church, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Let's pray. Our Father who is in heaven, hallowed and kept holy be your name. Let your kingdom come and your will be done in Peoria, Arizona, as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us of our trespasses, as we have also forgiven the trespasses of others against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. I ask now, O Lord, that your spirit would rest upon every council member here. Be gracious according to your loving kindness as you bestow the spirit of extraordinary wisdom, the spirit of perfect understanding, the spirit of wise strategy, the spirit of mighty power, the spirit of revelation, and the spirit of the fear of Yahweh to everyone in this room. I ask that you would dispatch angels on behalf of this council and on behalf of our city to guard us and to guide us into all truth, light, and life. I pray that you will give your angels charge concerning us to guard us in all of our ways. For yours, O God, is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and forever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Beck.
Here.
Vice Mayor Crawford. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Finn.
Here.
Councilmember Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Stokes.
Here.
Councilmember Dunn.
Here.
Councilmember Bula.
Here.
Mayor Beck, you have.
Somebody just hit pre-bidding?
Sorry. Here. Thank you.
If anyone would like to address the council about a matter, oh my goodness. Oh. This is the last call to submit speaker request forms at this time. Tonight we will have two presentations. First, I would like to recognize Councilmember Bullock to present. All right, to present a proclamation commemorating the Arizona Broadway Theater's anniversary milestone.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to invite Amy up. Stand here so I don't trip. Good. Well, thank you very much, everybody. This is actually a really special evening because many of you, and hopefully all of you, are familiar with the Arizona Broadway Theater. They have been literally an icon, a gem in Peoria for 20 years. As a matter of fact, most of them couldn't be here tonight, and thank you for Amy for peeling yourself away. They are currently holding their 20th anniversary gala event as we speak, and they're actually going to be streaming it right from that camera right there. So please, everybody, this is the first live stream to a council meeting somewhere else with hundreds of people watching. So smile, my faithful council members and mayor behind us. This is a live take. So again, very excited. Congratulations to Kyle and his team for putting on 20 years, again, of incredible performances, incredible food, incredible memories. Looking forward to what you have up your sleeve for the next 20 years. So without further ado, would you mind opening that for me? Because I really can't. And then fold it over. And then, yeah, thanks. Okay. Don't laugh at me. City of Peoria Proclamation. Whereas the City of Peoria proudly recognizes the Arizona Broadway Theater, ABT, as a cornerstone of our community, a cultural and artistic landscape. And whereas, since opening its doors in 2005, the Arizona Broadway Theater has catapulted audiences with professional, high-quality musical productions, enriching the lives of residents and visitors alike. And whereas, over the past 2 decades, ABT has presented hundreds of performances and welcomed countless patrons, establishing itself as one of Arizona's premier destinations for fine theater, dining, and entertainment. And whereas the theater has provided invaluable opportunities for artists, performers, and students, fostering creativity and supporting the next generation of talent through education, mentorship, and community engagement. And whereas ABT's continued success contributes significantly to Peoria's thriving arts and culture scene, embraces tourism, and strengthens our city's reputation as a vibrant hub for creativity and innovation. And whereas the City of Peoria extends its deepest appreciation to the founders, staff, performers, volunteers, and patrons whose dedication and passion have sustained the Arizona Broadway Theater for the past 20 years. Now, therefore, I, Jason Beck, Mayor of the City of Peoria, County of Maricopa, State of Arizona, in conformity therewith and by the virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim November 4th, 2025 as Arizona Broadway Theater 20th Anniversary Day. And witness therein, signed, Jason Beck. Thank you very much. Hold that. Thank you. All right, see you in a little bit.
Next, I would like to recognize city staff to give an update on several of Peoria's recent public safety strategy investments.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are excited to be here to discuss some updates on strategic public safety initiatives that you all approved to advance the public safety of the City of Peoria. And I'm going to hand this over to Chief Intrieri to introduce his team and take us through these updates.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager Cutright. Mayor Beck, members of the council, Mr. Darwin, city staff, and our constituents. It's a pleasure to be in front of you today as we talk about our aviation unit and the Real-Time Crime Center, the evolution and where we are today, and then moving forward, giving you a vision. In front of me, or alongside me, I have Commander James Schmidt to my left, Assistant Chief Doug Steele, and then to my right, Commander Jason Tarrant. I would like to first mention and bring to your attention that Commander Jason Tarrant and Assistant Chief Yvette Zayas, who's standing, are newly promoted, so I'd like to welcome them to the leadership team. And as set forth, I'm sure Commander Tarrant will demonstrate his knowledge and expertise, his abilities, his skill set has a direct implication to the success that we've already realized with the Real-Time Crime Center. So to start off with, I'd like to welcome Commander Schmidt to present the aviation unit.
Mayor Beck, City Council members. The first clip I'm going to play is some of video that we took with the helicopter. Again, this started in 2023 prior to me even getting to this department. So I came in about 6 months to a year into it. And I'll play the video for you.
The air unit was there on a few occasions where I could say that officer presence with that helicopter, if it wasn't there, things probably would have ended up different. Peoria, as well as the rest of the West Valley, has grown, has started to expand through economic development, population growth, population shift. City leadership found that it would be extremely advantageous to bring in a helicopter, not just for the city, but also for the West Valley, The aviation unit is definitely a force multiplier. What I mean by that is regardless of how many officers we may have responding to a call, the air unit will bring in the equivalent of 4 to 6 officers to that scene through oversight, overwatch, the officer presence when you hear the helicopter, their ability, their visual awareness and acuteness to scan a large area. The air unit really can't be replaced by a drone, although we will be supplementing our air support with drones in the future. The air unit is very unique in that it provides that officer presence and can be equated to a replacement of personnel on the ground.
As stated before, the air unit, this endeavor started about 2 years ago to enhance public safety for the citizens of Peoria. Currently, we use a Bell 505 for our response for both police and fire. The department currently is operating the air unit on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays on patrol operations from noon to 10. And then we're also doing an additional service on Saturday from 1700, which is 5 to 10 o'clock at night. Those were all based on the actual calls for service in Peoria. Those times were not just picked randomly. Those are our highest calls for service time. So we utilize the air unit appropriately and for the citizens for times that we have a high crime rate in the city. The Bell 505, of course, came equipped with certain equipment, and then we enhanced it for police and fire operations. A couple of those was a TRACA system that was put on the aircraft that gave us the opportunity of a spotlight, as you saw in the video before, to be able to illuminate big areas, not just for suspects, but to search for missing people. But it also helps in rescues. It also is equipped with a FLIR, which was that you also saw briefly, where it takes up thermal imaging. So we're able to locate heat sources. This helps not just finding people, but also vehicles. If we're looking for people that have evaded us and they go into a parking lot and go dark, we're able to see the heat source from the engine, knowing that that vehicle was running compared to all the other vehicles. We've also equipped the Bell 505 with rescue equipment for the fire department for their operations. And then the last thing we added was we are able to have interop communications with all the West Valley agencies within the helicopter. This is also, that makes it extremely easy for us when multi-agency problems exist with criminals going, because they don't understand borders, so they're constantly going back and forth, and also to assist either their police or fire if requested. Currently, our personnel for the helicopter, we have a sergeant who is a pilot, and then we have 3 additional officers assigned. 2 of them are trained commercial helicopter pilots, while 1 is currently in training. All 3 of the officers are tactical flight officers. What that means is that they were trained by Phoenix PD, and they actually sit in the right seat of the helicopter, and they're running the TRACA system that you saw, all the radio operations, so the pilot can maneuver the helicopter appropriately. That training's roughly anywhere from 6 to 9 months just in Phoenix. And then the pilot training for them lasts anywhere from 9 to 12 months. It all depends on their skill set and if they're being able to be checked off as a pilot. Currently, we have 1 detective assigned to us that does maintenance as a collateral duty. We are in December 9th. We will have a mechanic on duty with the police department, which is going to help us in the sense of we won't have to take the helicopter to another area to have it maintained. It reduces the downtime and gives us that ability to have in-house maintenance versus somebody else coming in to do it. Peoria fire personnel, we do have 6 air rescue technicians and 1 crew chief for them. They are currently in training. with our helicopter. They have done multiple trainings, of course, with MCSO and others. We have procured the equipment necessary for them to perform rescues with the helicopter. And of course, their roles are medical situations or evacuations or fire rescue. Couple areas that I wanted to highlight is since we've had the air unit up, it has, since the pilots in it had to be in training, some of these were done during training sessions. As of July of this year was the first time we were actually running full patrol operations. A couple of these were life-saving, where was a 13-year-old female that was rescued. The multi-agency support is essential because pursuits or criminals just don't stay in Glendale or the surrounding cities. They do come into ours. It gives us a situational awareness when they're coming into our city to be able to have the aviation unit, not just because it's a helicopter, but they also scan the channels of the surrounding agencies. So we're hearing this coming live through, and we're able to warn our own people real time versus dispatch center to dispatch center. It also has provided great support to our SWAT units when we do search warrants because it gives us that overwatch, and people do like to run, so it gives us that ability to make sure our guys and gals are safe when they're doing those operations. And this will be a quick highlight of the aviation unit.
We had a 13-year-old girl that ran away from home. She ran into the desert area. She was suicidal. She had taken several medications that were not prescribed to her. And we had an extensive ground search. They were able to deploy some of the tools that they have, and they were able to recognize her hiding behind an object. They were able to pick up her heat signature. Because of the timeliness of the air unit's response, paramedics were able to get to her. They were able to get her to the hospital. She has since had a full recovery. As a father of 2 girls, father of 3 children, I can only imagine how fortunate those parents feel, how blessed they feel that we had that helicopter that could identify and find their daughter for them. So an aviation unit, to much of its detractors, is an expensive commodity, no doubt. But nobody ever said public safety was cheap. Saving lives and making sure that we have the resources and the training available to ensure the highest probability our citizens are found safe, that those that are bringing harm upon others are held accountable, and that our officers are protected and given overwatch so that they can get home safe to their families is paramount. Ultimately, at no point ever have I ever asked or have I ever heard anybody say that they could put a price to the value of a life. And I'm certainly not going to start now.
Our operational impact since, as I stated, we started running patrol operations July of this year. They have responded to 251 calls for service. The importance of that is, as you can see by the numbers put up there of us being able to assist our patrol officers and fire and medical. We have been able to, we had 1 rescue flight and 14 preservations of life. As you can see, the suspects detained and located. And this is just briefly, since we did it in July, the helicopter was down for 1 month, but that's because it's an annual maintenance of 400 hours. So we're only talking a couple months period that they were able to respond. Next, after doing the calls for service, we were able to put out that 70% of the time on all of our emergency calls, the helicopter's on scene first, which helps us apprehend the suspects, provide medical assistance and resources needed to the location when that call came out. Future of the aviation unit. As I said, we still have 2 pilots. They are trained pilots. They're just doing their pilot in command training hours requirements. One will finish in January or maybe even in December. They can still fly patrol operations at this point. And then we have, the next one will probably finish in March. Our goal is to have 2 crews with both a pilot and a TFO in the aircraft by July of 2026. This would enable us to run more patrol operations and rescue operations and give us better coverage throughout the city. An additional aircraft, what would that look like for the aviation unit? It would be able to extend our hours to currently what we do. It would also extend the fact that if one helicopter is down, the other one would be able to be flown during that time period while the other one has its annual maintenance or monthly maintenance. It supports both our police and fire, and it would help enhance our fire rescue capability moving forward. Just want to say thank you, and then does anybody have any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. 2 quick questions. One, kind of out of, when the current helicopter, we have one, it's down for maintenance a month, whatever, Bell has to fix it as usual. Do we call on other cities to help out? Because once you kind of, this is, again, I'm not educated, I'm not in your world. When it's used to being used, not all the time, obviously, and then all of a sudden it's not there, how do you, in essence, augment that? It's gone for a whole month. It's like, because, and it's a 2-part question that'll make sense. The second thing, and this is kind of out of left field, is there any liability related to, we're a very litigious society, liability to, helicopter's not available anymore? Does that put us in any kind of position? Because I can imagine that when there's a fire truck, we don't have a fire truck available, can't put your house out, you get sued. We get sued. Is there any potential litigation from a helicopter just not being available? So kind of a 2-part question. Thank you.
Sorry, Mayor Beck, Councilmember Bullock. To answer your first question, so whenever a resource is recognized and utilized in the public safety realm, if that resource is not available, we will always seek other agency support, whatever that may be, to include the helicopter. Sometimes, in some cases, and just a few months ago, we actually called upon MCSO and DPS to bring officers into the city to assist us. So that is kind of like the status quo. Other agencies call upon us for assistance to include the helicopter. We respond. When our helicopter is not available, either due to scheduling or staffing or maintenance, then yes, we do call upon Phoenix or MCSO. Typically, Phoenix will be the one that will respond, if anybody. The second part, the litigious piece of that, I recognize our society as being such. I cannot say with absolute certainty that it's not a possibility, but like you said, if a fire truck isn't available, that very well could be a litigious situation that allows somebody to go after the city. I could see it as a potential down the road, but very much the same way an officer making a traffic stop on the side of the road and somebody striking the police officer's car and saying the police officer's car was in the way because it was protruding out into the roadway. Yes, there's a potential for that, but I don't know of any case law, nor do I know of any situations where that's ever occurred. And I have now 30 years of experience working with aviation units.
Mayor, Councilmember Bullock, I'd like to add that if a resource, you mentioned a fire truck is down, the fire stations, or the units would respond from other fire stations from other agencies outside of Peoria, and so it'd be the same. If the aviation unit's not available, we would have either another agency respond, and we would be rolling anyway in a vehicle, and so there would still be a response. It just wouldn't be as rapid as it would be.
And to that point, I'd also like to add, we'll talk about it a little bit more here shortly with the second presentation, but we have a multi-tiered approach for readiness in the short term. Fairly soon, we're going to be unveiling. So if you just wait for the next presentation, that might help you with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Councilor Crawford.
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to ask specifically regarding to the maintenance. I can't remember if you could refresh my memory, and it could be for the annual maintenance. Is it out of state, or where do we send the Bell for that maintenance?
We send the Bell helicopter up to Sholo
Sholo, thank
because
you.
it's a Bell. And when I say annual maintenance, I should clarify that it's an hourly maintenance.
Okay.
It's 25, 50, 100, 400, 600, and it keeps going from there.
Okay, thank you, Sholo. I was going to say strawberry or payson, and didn't want to sound silly.
You were close.
I was in the region. So a follow-up to that, with an in-house mechanic, what impact could he or she make on those hourly milestone of maintenance?
The impact would be is we're not having to send it unless it takes a specialized tool, or like, because some of the tools are $200,000 to do stuff on aircraft. If we can get the tool shipped to us, then the mechanic can perform it all we're at our hangar. And it's going to decrease the time of us having to fly the helicopter up there, wait till it gets fixed, then send some people back up there, then to bring it back. So, and it gives us control over how long that maintenance takes, because we're relying on somebody else and not a city of Peoria employee. So.
Awesome. So you said two things here. So 70% of the time, can I give me that again? So the 77% of the time the helicopter got on scene before officers.
Yes.
That's during the obviously period of flight times that you're actually working.
Yes.
Is
During
that
the flight
data
times.
over since August? Is that what you're?
Yes, since we took it from August, that data is there. And to be completely transparent, some of that time when we're even out on calls for service, there may be training opportunities at that time that they're actually training at the same time that they're responding to calls for service.
Preservation of life, 14. Can you give us some examples of that?
Well, one was, of course, the one that you saw in the video. I think over 4 or 5 of those had ended up being hikers, because we have a lot of citizens from Peoria going out hiking. I'd have to get you the numbers on the other ones for that, but a lot of that is being able to cover such a vast amount of area. That helicopter can do that to locate people.
Do you or can you publish, like you're saying, suspects located, detained, 66, those types of things? I mean, for the public to be able to see those types of things, I mean, do you have those types of videos available for them?
Yes, Mayor, and we are currently working on, we did buy the software that it will be available, all of our stats, including our flight time, everything will be posted for the public to see. It's just downloading the information and getting systems to talk to each other.
Right.
And we're going to have that up by next year.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to move over to the Real-Time Crime Center presentation. I'd like to point out I missed the opportunity earlier on just to mention Assistant Chief Steele. He's been working on both of these projects for the last couple of years, and he has been very much involved with the Real-Time Crime Center along with Commander Tarrant. So I'd like to give him a lot of credit for a lot of success that we've experienced in the short time with both the area and the Real-Time Crime Center.
Don't shake your head, no. We all know you're doing it.
All right, Mayor Beck, Council, thank you. Within a year, who would have thunk I would be doing my third presentation to City Council? The first two, what the Real-Time Crime Center was going to look like. Second one, what it looked like when we were opening it. But I've never been excited to share with you our first 7 months and the success we've had. Absolutely amazing. But what I'd like to do is start with the staff that sat in those seats from the beginning, and it's because of them, their dedication to the city, their dedication to that Real-Time Crime Center, that we're even talking about all the success. So the staff that's leading it is Sergeant Lesher. We have Detective Bryant Hyatt. Detective Julie Smith, and for our Public Safety Initiative from Fire Captain Rob Thario. So this is what we look like. We went operational in March of 2025. What I tell people when they come to tours is why we were so rapidly successful is because prior to the Real-Time Crime Center, we were lucky and fortunate in the city of Peoria that we have amazing relationships across the multitude of the departments that are within the city. So when you talk to real-time crime centers that are getting up and running, they're very limited on cameras. How you're successful without cameras, I don't know, and I'm going to show you exactly what those cameras lead to. But the relationship we had with traffic engineering, the relationship we had throughout the city, we were able to bring in hundreds of cameras from our traffic cameras and from our city buildings. We deployed, and we were lucky that it was funded through council to bring in flock license plate readers. So we strategically put those throughout the city. Those are absolute game changers when it comes to real-time crime centers and the crime fighting that brings to the city. And we'll talk about that later. And then our body-worn cameras with Axon. We've upgraded those. We were able to tap into body-worn cameras and see what was going on. Now we can actually have a two-way conversation with officers out there on the scene. And that's been a complete game changer. When I talk about fire being able to do an initiative out there, and I'll get into that in a little bit, and then what our detectives have been able to do for officers that are out in the field, being their eyes and ears for them while they handle situations that are right in front of them. We are also fortunate that we have a strong, long-lasting relationship with a bunch of external partners. PUSD was huge. They were right on board. We got all their cameras integrated within the Real-Time Crime Center. Why is that important? We're protecting our kids. We're protecting for that big event that happens at a school. We actually had a training this summer in July where we had cameras up at Centennial. We had force-on-force training where we actually are sending people into a critical situation in the schools. We were able to show the difference when we didn't have the Real-Time Crime Center up and how that slowed the process down. With slowed process, you get more casualties, more people hurt. When those cameras are up and we were able to talk officers directly to threat, they were in it and so fast that they actually had to tell us to get off the cameras because we were messing up their training. Absolutely amazing. So we have a good relationship with a lot of our external partners. The staffing that we built this out with is 1 lieutenant, or should I say commander, 1 sergeant, 2 detectives, and we brought in the fire captain with the public safety initiative. That didn't go live until the summer, but since beginning, we've already had 76 fire operational calls for service that were impacted. What does that look like? We actually had a significant injury out in the field. Officers were first on scene through the two-way communication through BWC. Captain Thario is giving life-saving measures to the officer on scene and telling him how to manage that or triage that until fire can arrive. And that's happening time and time again. It is absolutely amazing what we're doing with that. The two-way communication. So what that is before, we actually had to request to go into the body-worn camera for the officer. We could get into their camera, but we could only see what was going on, and we could hear, but we couldn't communicate. With the new upgraded BWCs, there's a button in an app where they can actually hit it to follow me. They can tell us, I want you as the Real-Time Crime Center to watch me, or when we go into it, and what that does is it now opens up a microphone where we can actually talk through their body-worn camera on scene, and they can communicate back to us. So we had a call not too long ago, probably a couple of weeks ago, where officers were dealing with a critical situation. One had a taser with both hands on the taser. The other one was lethal cover with his service pistol out. And they activated the tone, and it was messing up their communication with the person they were trying to calm down and de-escalate with. They just said, can you have them turn off the tone? Our Real-Time Crime Center detective was able to get on the radio and say, could you release the tone for the officer? So communicating, they didn't have to use their hands, they didn't have to look for their radio. They're just talking and we're able to hear them. Very successful. And then starting next week, November 10th, actually, we'll have our first 2 civilian investigators and join the Real-Time Crime Center. That is gonna allow us to push out our days of operation and our times as well. So we'll actually have 4 on the floor. And as I'll talk later, this is going to be very important because we also have a drone first responder program that's going to be coming online probably early next year. So what we've been doing since the beginning is we're tracking our successes. This is from March to September when we started up until last month. You can see our calls for service, and this is just 4 days a week, 10 hours with the staff that we had. We've done a lot. We virtually cleared calls for patrol, which they love. If it's something that's a broke down vehicle in an intersection or something to that effect, they can get on the cameras. The vehicle is now gone. Instead of an officer responding and not dealing with the critical things and going all the way across the city to handle it, they're clearing it right there from the camera saying vehicle is no longer there. They've been able to lead patrol directly to persons and vehicles 248 times on calls for service out of the 1,232. The one thing that you can't, and I haven't figured out a way to archive, is what does that look like when we're taking them directly to persons, especially suspects that have fled? What is the man hours that we're saving in the back end? If they were to get away and now a detective has to get pinned to the case, they have to follow up, they have to go collect evidence. When you get that person into custody right away and you're leading them right to them, you save all those man hours. And then the one thing I talk about in the tours that I really take a lot of pride in when we're able to do that is breaking that circle of violence. So the longer that a suspect is outstanding, they go through those phases where now the victim no longer wants to aid in prosecution, either they've made up, but if you can get them into custody right from the beginning, your odds of prosecution and breaking that chain of violence goes significantly up. So that's a big number for us.
That's awesome.
And then for 750 calls for service or so, we were first on scene, which equates to about 61% of the time. And that could be a multitude of things, either being on the floor, do we have cameras that are accessible for us to actually get eyes on the scene? So that's actually eyes on scene first. The other big thing that we've done is we've done a lot of tours and presentations since being open only for a short time. I would like to give a big shout out to Councilmember Edwards. He has spearheaded many of those for our HOAs. And we love that because we want the community to know what we're doing. And we also want them to know the value we could bring to their communities. And we're hopefully arming our HOA board members when they go back and talk to their all their people in their HOAs, what we're about, what we do, what we don't do, kind of get rid of some of the hearsay rumors that are out there, and also the ability for us to partner with them. There's been some great success with communities giving access to cameras or even putting LPRs up in their communities that have thwarted a lot of criminal activity within those communities and made those communities safer. We've done a lot of tours for internal departments because we want to keep those strong relationships internally in the city. We've had schools that come out. We're trying to build a lot of relationships outside of even PUSD to help the other schools that are in our community. And then through our Peoria Leadership Institute and our Citizens Academy, we've done a lot of tours. This is also telling to how great your guys' real-time crime center is doing. We have police departments that want to come tour and observe what we're doing and why we've been successful so fast. We've had all these agencies come out to include from Beverly Hills, California, from Lynn Haven, Florida, Redmond, Washington, and then local ones. Page PD just came down just recently. They did a tour because they're trying to upstart a real-time crime center. They wanted to know the nuts and bolts of how we do everything and how we became so successful. The lieutenant that came down, I think that was a great quote. He sent that in a text to me because I had to leave, about how grateful that he was that they came down, that we're doing it the right way, and that they are actually going to model most of what they do based upon our operations here in Peoria. To have another agency say that, I think it's very significant. This is big. So we've only been operational for 7 months, and we've already been recognized and honored at the national level. We went to the NRTC, the National Real-Time Crime Center Association conference that they do once a year in Georgia this year in September, and we were presented with 3 national awards. 2 of those awards were for the center in itself. They're called the DICE Awards. DICE stands for Development, Initiative, Collaboration, and Education. So the 2 awards we got was for development, and that's based on what we've done in building our real-time crime center up so fast and the success it's had. And also the Collaboration Award because we've done so much work with other real-time crime centers in the Valley. They saw that partnership has strengthened other real-time crime center operations within the Valley. And then one of the ones we're really proud of is Sergeant Mike Lesher was awarded the Supervisor of the Year at the national level for the Real-Time Crime Center, based on his leadership and what he's done to bring that Real-Time Crime Center to the standard that it's already at. Outside of that, there was a lot of awards that we were all nominated for. Our actual Real-Time Crime Center was nominated for Crime Center of the Year. Again, only 7 months. We were also nominated for the Innovation Award, and that was just solely based upon the integration of fire personnel within the Real-Time Crime Center, which we knew it was kind of a anomaly here in Arizona, but actually nationwide, there's very few that are doing that. But everyone's starting to take notice about the success of having fire within your crime center. Detective Hyatt for Member of the Year, and I don't know who wrote it up, but I was nominated for Executive of the Year. We're also doing so well that the NRTCCA conference is here in Phoenix next year, and they've already reached out and they want our Real-Time Crime Center to be one of the showcases for them, where you have other agencies through the nation and globally touring your center to see what you're doing and how you're doing it, so they can start modeling that after us. So what do we do in the Real-Time Crime Center? It's hard to talk about it. It's easier if we just show you some great stuff that we've done. This first case study that I'm going to play for you was a individual that pulled a gun on another victim at a car wash. We heard the 911 call come in. Detectives jumped on it. They heard it. They had the camera on that intersection before the car even left the parking lot. They were able to see it coming out and then walk officers directly to it. If I can get it to play.
All right, we can approach him. All right, holster.
And then just one more. This one just happened. This one actually, the reason we wanted to show it is just to show that collaboration. This came out as a shoplifting, rapidly escalated to a robbery where they threatened to pepper spray and also put a hard object to the individual's back that was trying to stop them. Once they heard that, a quick pursuit happened. They tried to initiate a traffic stop. This actually started in our city, but ended up in Glendale. We have a collaboration with Glendale. We were able to immediately get them on the radio. They started utilizing their cameras to show us what they were doing. We viewed their cameras because we have access to just view only in our Real-Time Crime Center. And then we're giving information to our officers that are still trying to stop these individuals. So they jump out of the car, but don't put it in park, so it continues to roll. Officers did a great job, but one of the things you'll see is they actually stopped that from being catastrophic on an intersection. But if you look at the upper left, we also see those suspects run into a store. We're giving this information to officers. They bypass a lot of areas they would probably search, and they go directly to the store that we saw them going into.
Thirsty. That's crazy.
They try to blend in, So just a couple of great successes for you guys to see.
That's awesome.
So what does the future look like? Outside of expanding our cameras and doing those partnerships to continue to engage our community, to continue our tours, one of the big things that we're working on right now is bringing in the drone first responder program. We've already finalized the contract with Flock Aerodome. We've selected 2 strategic launch sites within the city. We've completed our FAA paperwork to allow beyond visual line of sight. and the partnership with Luke Air Force Base. So just real quick on that, I can tell you the FAA was so impressed with the Real-Time Crime Center and the others that helped us put this paperwork together. They've never seen this kind of waiver come from an Air Force base that's going to allow us to fly in their space, and also to be able to complete our FAA paperwork for the beyond visual line of sight as quick as we did. So this staff that we have here, they're so dedicated, it's absolutely amazing. Those 2 Dachshund drones is going to allow us to cover about 38 square miles. Basically, it's going to cover everything from northern all the way up to Happy Valley and most of the city east to west. And what that covers is about 70% of our call volume right now. So we're going to encapsulate most of our call volume that's coming in is going to be covered by these drones. So imagine a box sitting on a roof with no one watching it. We get a call, a 911 call that would trigger the use of the drone. We hit a button saying that's a call we need you to go to. It's already archived within the system. That box will open up. A drone that looks similar to this will launch, and it will autonomously fly directly to that location that we're sending it to and get us eyes on within minutes. So that will supplement the cameras that are around and give us a clear view of what's going on. Super excited about it. So the next time I'm here presenting, it will be video of the drone encapsulated with all of that good film footage, and we'll be able to talk more about that. Any questions?
Councilor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor. Great presentation.
Thanks, sir.
Once again, thank you for all the tours that you do for the community, and I hope my colleagues will do the same and invite their HOAs to come out, because the amount of questions that you guys asked and answered from everybody was just phenomenal. So thank you so much. But I do have a question. So, Chief, based on the current data and operational outcomes, how many additional police patrol officers would we need to deploy in order to match everything that you guys are doing at the Real-Time Crime Center and the air unit?
Well, I'll say this. I think with the aviation unit, with the helicopter, when the helicopter's in the air, when they're operational and they're going on scene, they assist tremendously with their presence, the overwatch, and the ability to maintain a visual over a large area while the officers that are operating beneath them can focus on whatever the issue may be. I would say that, and it's funny because Assistant Chief Steele and I have had these conversations over the last several months about how do you quantify that? Well, I tell you what, I'll quantify it with my experience, say that helicopter in the air above equates to about 4 to 6 officers on the ground at the time of the scenario that you're dealing with, because it's ability to establish a perimeter, maintain that perimeter, and communicate effectively across multiple officers simultaneously really enables the efficiency of that model to demonstrate how it benefits us. With the Real-Time Crime Center, I think we're still kind of early in that realm to kind of figure out how and how many it would equate to. I don't want to say replace, but equate to. But nonetheless, I think when you see the responsiveness and the ability, when you have great staff in the Real-Time Crime Center, that's first and foremost. Their ability to recognize the need, the urgency, and the technology that would be best suited for that specific incident. And then with the addition of fire in-house as well, to assist with those different types of calls where there may be a medical issue, et cetera. Right now, it's difficult to say, but I can tell you what, it's a game changer. It's by no means the policing that I was accustomed to back in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Life as I know it within policing has definitely changed, and for us, for the better. Our responsiveness, the ability to communicate effectively across multiple platforms, not just within our department, but with other agencies, ensures that our citizens can operate freely and be assured that we're providing the safest environment that we can for them and for our officers moving forward. So,
Thank you.
Well, I'll make a couple comments. The amazing thing, and I'm gonna address Doug here real quick as deputy chief here, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when I first came in, literally, I think week one, this was our conversation. And I know you don't like to take any credit, but this is a big deal. It's from a vision standpoint of what we've been able to put together. You go back to the starting point of this and all the work that you and the rest of the team has been put together. I love hearing the fire stories because that's exactly when we first went down this path. It was like, wait, you're going to put a firefighter in the, and it was like, yeah, why would we not, right? We got police officers on scene first. We start to use the RTCC. We could save lives, and we've said this from the very beginning. How do we save one life, right? From every aspect of this, that's really the only thing that matters. So when you look at the aspect of RTCC, drone first responder, the air unit, the Axon partnership. I mean, I talked to Rick, the CEO of Axon, a week ago, and just they cannot brag about you guys enough. I mean, it is cutting edge, but it's also the team as much as anything else. Technology's there, but the willpower and work ethic to be able to get this done from all of us, from the citizens that are here, or the citizens that are watching. Thank you for all of your guys' efforts. None of this would matter without all of your efforts being put forth to this. You look at the monies we were able to achieve with RTCC and drone first responder and all this other stuff, and be able to go and get these grants to be able to achieve all this stuff. And our state legislators, if they're watching or if they hear about this, we have to thank them because they were the ones that put it out there for us, and it was amazing. And just overall staff, but it's been incredible to see from the very first day we opened it, and you guys were literally right there, crushing it right off the bat. I think when we were still in the room, you guys are actually working it. It's just amazing to actually see it happen, and to see these results in any city is incredible. So thank you from all of us. So, okay, thank you very much.
Mayor Beck, members of the council, I just want to finish up with this one point. So thank you for that. Recognize that. To date, my conversations with members of our department have recognized the value and benefit that both the Real-Time Crime Center brings as well as the air unit. In addition to that, we are one of the few agencies here in the Valley that has an aviation unit. Those other agencies also have real-time crime, and they also have drone capabilities. We recognize that, and we're continuously working moving forward, recognizing that although we've had some success now, what we anticipate and we look forward to moving forward will easily diminish the few successes we've had to date, and will be tremendous moving forward. So we're researching and we're working with other agencies across the nation that have aviation units, drone first responder programs, and then patrol-based drones. And that's the smaller drones that the patrol officers may operate or the tactical officers will operate in a very confined area. So Assistant Chief Steele and I have been working. We've actually attended a conference and talked at length with a few agencies, and to make sure that as we move forward, as our drone first responder program comes into play, in partnership with aviation, that we're going to ensure that we have the best coverage for the city moving forward to provide the best and safe environment for the city and for the citizens of Peoria. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's pretty cool. It's incredible numbers. Absolutely incredible numbers. We will now move to the regular meeting consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion unless a request for removal has been received for prior approval. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda as stated.
Second.
Please vote.
Councilmember Dunn, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And it passes 7-0. Thank you. We will now move on to regular agenda. And for new business, I now recognize City Manager Mr. Henry Darwin to introduce 10R.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, we have agenda item 10R, which is the creation of 2 capital improvement program projects and budget transfers for the Peoria Innovation Corps, infrastructure design services, and we have Deputy City Manager Mike Faust, who will present the item for your consideration.
Thank you, Manager Darwin. Mayor, Council, I thought I retired on August 28th, but they brought me back again. So I've got 2 quick ones tonight, I hope. So this particular one, the creation of 2 capital improvement projects and budget transfers, is specific to work in the Peoria Innovation Corps. Under our role as the master developer of the Peoria Innovation Corps, which was established December 12th of 2024 with an IGA with the State Land Department, the city took the responsibility to design and install public infrastructure throughout all of the 7,300-acre project. There are 3 specific projects that were in the latter portion of our implementation strategy, but because of great interest in the Peoria Innovation Corps, we've been asked by the applicant and State Land to bring those forward. So the 3 projects in particular, and they're highlighted in the graphic here on the right, are Lone Mountain Parkway, and essentially 2 phases of 96th Avenue. So to give it perspective, Lone Mountain Parkway on this part of Lake Pleasant Parkway is the 4-way intersection with West Wing. So if you were to continue through north where it currently dead ends, that turns into Lone Mountain Parkway. It'll run west for about a mile and then transition to 96th Avenue, which will then tie into a future traffic interchange. So there has been a lot of interest with the Peoria Innovation Corps since we announced the acquisition of Core 2 back on August 27th. And in this particular lens, there is a national home builder who has put in an application to bring forth 800 acres of land for single-family residential. So we're trying to just time these public infrastructure projects ahead of auctions, but I also don't want to get out in front of the land planning exercise. So I know Chris Jaquez has been working closely with the Mesquite council member to start talking through those, and I know the council member will be coming out as well as staff with some public communications. But Chris is going to come to council next month, next series, the 18th, I believe it is, to give an overview on the preliminary land planning for Core 1, Core 2. And I think it's important here because we're bringing forth a roadway project, so the community would be asking, what are you planning on putting in this space? That Core 1 area is about 1,200 acres of land. 800 acres is currently slated or proposed as single-family residential because we know there's single-family all around there, so we want a good, clean transition of just single-family homes to single-family homes. The remaining 400 acres that aren't single-family residential will be retail commercial abutting Loop 303 and Lake Pleasant Parkway, right? So it's appropriate to protect the 303 frontage for that retail. The rest of it, it's fitting to make it single-family. So the whole point of getting out in front of this exercise is to design the roadways so that way when the land auction occurs, and I'll touch on schedule here in a minute, so when the land auction occurs, the design is already done. The developer can come in and start the projects faster, which does 2 things. Number 1, it gives us more complete roads that the city has thought through. They don't become choppy roads. But more importantly, I'd say from the state land perspective, it adds value to the land because the developers don't have to invest so much time. And one of the goals and strategies of this whole project is to generate revenue to support K-12 education. So by bringing up the land, the rate at which the land sells, then we're returning greater value to schools. There is a bullet, second to last bullet on this page that I think is ultra critical. The city will be reimbursed for the design costs at the time of auction. And I think, well, there's still some confusion on how this IGA works because people are struggling to see that the agreement sets that the city gets reimbursed. Our soft costs, design costs for these projects will be reimbursed to the city the day of the auction. So the people bidding will bring 2 checks, one for a down payment for the land, one to reimburse the city for the cost of the design. So what is in the design? So essentially what we're saying is upon completion of this design, we'll finish it, the developer will, successful bidder will build it, but our design efforts will include the roadway, the drainage, the traffic analysis, the city utilities, the non-city utilities. So we build design utility trenches to put fiber in, to put power in. So all those things get undergrounded from the very beginning. And it includes landscape irrigation. So the whole point of this is to make sure that it's designed to a city standard. It's done so in concert with what the city needs for the overall intelligent and smart growth of the city. And it's done preemptively to bring the land value up. And it is all done under the IGA, so it's reimbursable at no cost to the city. If this agenda item is approved, here's the schedule. So if you approve it, the staff will move. They will award the design contract. They will move quickly to 30% drawings. That means they make sure they know exactly where the roadway is going to land. They know where the underground utilities are going to go. Then they'll start stakeholder reviews. Those stakeholder reviews are usually with our partners like APS, our internal groups, dry utility companies. And then we advance to the final construction drawings later, probably mid-year, and then ultimately have a package completed, ready to go. So that way when an auction occurs, most likely the latter part of 2026, they're able to pull permits. So with that, the staff is recommending that the council authorize the creation of 2 new capital projects, which is essentially the 2 segments of 96th Avenue, and transferring $3.3 million from the contingency into the budget in order to launch those projects, as well as pull a section of Lone Mountain forward in the CIP so they can begin these design works. And with that, Mayor, I'm happy to take any questions.
Councilor Bullock.
Thank you, Mike. And thanks also that last week for yourself and Chris Hawkes working with me to kind of go through this and some of the development projects going on so I could better understand it and better communicate to the residents of my district. This is more of a definition question, but I do get a lot of requests for this kind of information. So if you can just, 60-second answer. There's really 3 different roads, basically. And I'm going to probably slaughter this because I don't have the expertise on roads, so I'm getting there. There's a road that the city will build and never get reimbursed. That's, Happy Valley Road, for example. That's something for an arterial road for the whole city. Then there's roads that a developer is responsible for building, maybe up in Vistancia or West Wing. When they build a new property, they have to build part of the road. And then there's a third road, kind of we're doing here, where we're designing it, we're building it, but we're getting some reimbursements back. Can you kind of just quick definitions on those 3 types of roads? Why, again, how is the city responsible and how is the city protected on those 3 types of roads? So a developer road that they're responsible for doing, an arterial that we have to pay for and we never get reimbursed, and then this new way of doing things with the PIC of getting some reimbursements.
Yeah, brilliant. Mayor, Councilmember Bullock, thanks for the question. And it is strange. Don't mind. People still look at us like we've got 2 heads when we talk about this because people haven't done a deal like this before.
Yeah.
So it is, I want to say it's one of a kind because it is, and it's good for the city. So I'll use some practical examples of what you're speaking about. El Mirage Road. So the city is endeavoring. Now let's use one that's really driving people nuts right now. 67th Avenue. You all chuckle because you drove on it. It's pissing you off. 67th Avenue is a project that's been long-standing. This thing's been on the docket for about a decade. The team's been working diligently to bring it forward. This is like a $60 million drainage and roadway project. It is a blended funding from the flood district, some funds from us, various funding mechanisms that bring that together. But essentially, that road's going to be constructed. It costs the city a bunch of money. It costs the flood district money. And there's no reimbursement mechanism. We do it for the overall good of the city, and it's necessary to improve drainage and to improve traffic flow. It's just the cost of government, if you will. Then there's the development version you said. So an example of this might be if you live at 83rd Avenue and West Wing, you're watching Alora Vita be constructed. And you're watching all these roads go in and the new 2 roads that cut east and west and connect to West Wing Parkway. Those are those are developer roads. So those are local roads, sometimes collector roads, that developers build in order to build out a neighborhood. And all of that gets built into the cost of the home you buy, right? So they look at it, what's it cost to prepare the property? What does it cost to put that infrastructure in? So when people say, well, I don't pay for that road, you're paying for that road. You're paying for that road in the cost of your house because developers don't do anything for free, right?
Yeah.
They just don't. Then there's this, right? And again, I can fully understand, and the reason why we're here tonight is talking about this is because this is atypical. So the deal we've reached with the state land, and I would encourage anybody who still has questions to go back and watch the presentation. I want to say it was December 12th of 24. I'm quite certain that was it because I only speak with specificity. That IGA is very different, and in that it clearly states that the city is agreed with the state land, and ultimately it's for the benefit of state land that we will lead the zoning and entitlement effort for the property, but more importantly, we will design and install public infrastructure into the property, and we're paid back on those projects by the people who buy the land from the state. So when they buy it at public auction, they are agreeing in that public auction notice to reimburse the city for the costs associated with the improvements that we will have made. So in this particular example, what will happen is whoever buys the residential parcel, the 800 acres, will cut the city a check for its pro rata share of the pro rata, the proportional share on a per acre basis of the cost to design that. They will reimburse that day at auction. We will get a check for that on a per acre basis. Had we done the improvements, had we constructed the road, then the IGA clearly delineates the process by which they will reimburse the city. So ultimately it says they owe 50% of the hard costs, the construction related costs, including interest that we occurred from the time we put it in the ground till the time they paid us back. They would pay that back 50% at approval of the pre-plat, 50% at the patent of the property, meaning they got the deed from the state, and the other 50% net of any impact fee reimbursements would be paid at the plat for the residential or a site plan for a commercial, non-commercial. So I appreciate the question. It is atypical because typically you only have the two versions. Government spends money, they sell bonds, they build roads, people pay taxes, roads get paid for. That's option A. Option B, the developer buys land over a 3 to 5 year period, they develop, they sell houses, the cost of those roads get cooked into the cost of the house. This one's kind of a hybrid, right? We use cash on our side, right? Bonds, other cash mechanisms to build the roads. We collect insurance from the time it's substantially complete, interest, not insurance, collect interest from the time it's substantially completed to the time at which they reimburse us for the cost of the roadway. And essentially that cost gets built into the sale price of a home, just like any other, but we shorten the duration for the developer from the time at which they acquire the property to the time at which they can sell property. So time equals money. In this case, it's a benefit to them. It's a benefit to our community because the city we live in is designing and installing the infrastructure. So the goal here is, and I'm sensitive to this one, if you live on Joe Max Road, right? If you live on Joe Max, I live off of Joe Max. I'm almost afraid to say where I live. I'm at 78th and Joe Max. Don't need anybody showing up to see me. That road is super choppy. You go from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, back to 2 lanes to 4 lanes. And why? Because 4 different developers built it. Have you driven in Surprise? Right? It's choppy because the developers only build their half streets. Under this scenario, we can design and build and be intelligent about what we roll out. And the city's in the driver's seat, not only for the end configuration, but we also get to influence the interim state conditions as well.
I appreciate that. And what's nice about that too is we're getting 96th Avenue built, which many residents will use to get to the 303 back down. All the new residents, everybody in the ski district, North Peoria, we're getting that built for substantially less because of the buy-in from other builders buying that property and paying and helping us, in essence, fund that. It's going to be a very, very nice, well-planned road for less than we would have paid if we just built it ourselves.
100%.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? What's the total max reimbursement from the state?
We've estimated that, Mr. Mayor, estimated the total project to be somewhere between $500 and $600 million. $500
and $600 million. First of its kind. Thank you. Council, do I have any further discussion? Seeing none, I would like to now recognize, hold on a second. Council, do I have a motion to, actually, I am. I'm going to you guys.
You have a question?
I would like to recognize the youth liaison, Felicia. to ask question for 10R.
So it's so funny. My question is for 11R, and I don't know why it says 10R, so I'm very sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'll wait till 11.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
All right. So we'll move this down here. All right, council, do I have a motion to approve agenda item 10R?
Motion to approve.
Please vote.
Councilmember Dunn, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
It was a test, Felicia. I'm just kidding. And it passes 7-0. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Now recognize City Manager Mr. Henry Darwin to introduce 11R.
So getting to the agenda item that Felicia has a question about. It's related to an intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Revenue for infrastructure improvements associated with Amcor technology. I believe, Mike, are you making this presentation or is Maria?
You're after.
So you're
I
making
got
the
this one.
You're doing 11R.
I'm doing that one.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Oh, Mr. Darwin, Mayor. So I'm here to talk about an intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Revenue. And so this is, I don't know what questions this will raise, but it's a complex law. It's a good law that helps cities prepare for large companies like Amcor. So this is born out of that. So what is, I want to start by talking about what is Arizona revised statute, what we call Title 42, 5032.02. Essentially, this is a tool in the economic development toolbox that addresses the dedication of state and local revenues from construction sales tax for infrastructure improvements related to manufacturing facilities, right? So this is really, essentially, it's a tool that allows the state and the city to invest in economic development projects. And it only works for like the massive projects. So in order to qualify in the metro Phoenix area, a project must generate or must cost at least $500 million of capital construction dollars. So that's a pretty significant investment. These things don't happen every single day. So by way of reminder, Amcor's project, it qualifies for this. It was a $2 billion project until October the 6th when they announced it's actually going to be roughly a $7 billion project. So this ultimately helps jurisdictions like ourselves, or in this case, it helps Amcor to fund or offset the costs of public infrastructure that are built specific to the benefit of that manufacturing facility. So just to picture it, we're building this facility in Core 2. The infrastructure that goes there is clearly to the benefit of Amcor because they're building out there, but it will also benefit all the other users in the space as well. By way of a reminder, inside of the Amcor development agreement that the council voted and unanimously approved on August 28th, there was a provision within inside of that, section 4.6, that said the city shall cooperate with the company to satisfy the requirements of the Title 42 statute. And there's three main provisions that make that up. The first of which is the city must dedicate 100% of its local construction sales tax generated from the construction of that project. So ultimately what that says is any of the construction sales tax dollars that we would have received, the transaction privilege tax we received specifically for the construction of the Amcor facility, the city is then required to put 100% of that towards the public infrastructure. Okay? So that's an agreement that's already been reached with them. Number two, the city must enter into a written agreement with Amcor that describes the public infrastructure improvements, the projects, the costs, and the funding sources. And you did this as well. When you adopted the development agreement, we built all this in so we didn't have to do a secondary agreement. Third, the city must enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Revenue. They are the state agency that oversees this program, and they are simply the facilitator of saying, we have calculated the construction sales tax that have come in, we have received receipts from the city for the cost of the public infrastructure, and then we transfer that over. Now, there is an important provision inside of this, is that there is a $200 million cap on this program. So if you go in and read the statute, it got revised about 18 months ago to increase the cap to $200 million. Now, about 75% of that capacity has been consumed. It's been consumed with East Valley cities, and it's been consumed by Phoenix, largely when you look at TSMC, Intel, LG in Queen Creek. So what we're doing is getting Peoria in line to be able to collect those funds. So I also want to point out a reminder, because I've seen some communication out there, and much like our IGA with the state has caused confusion, and people are I don't want to say misrepresenting, but at times misrepresenting it. I've seen the same thing with the Amcor DA. So I just want to highlight, this was a portion of a slide we gave on the 28th that explained the true up that we have with Amcor, right? Because we did a land swap, right? And then as a city, right, the council voted, and the city will commit all the public infrastructure in Core 2, and the city committed 100% of its construction sales tax. But then inside of the deal, if you recall, we created a backstop provision, right? We've said that this is a net zero project for the city. So ultimately it was 12 months after Amcor takes occupancy of their facility, the city will provide certified financials to Amcor that says how much local taxes did we collect from their project, how much state reimbursement did we get, and we're going to provide that number to Amcor. And ultimately, Amcor owes the difference, so there's a $31 million infrastructure cost that needs to be satisfied, $31.3 million. Amcor has to pay the city the delta between the taxes we collected and the state reimbursement. So if we collect enough local tax and enough state reimbursement to cover the $31.3 million, they won't owe us anything. If that we collect $5 million and we get $5 million from the state, that's 10, Amcor would have to write the city a $21.3 million check, right? The goal is to collect enough taxes locally, get enough reimbursement from the state to make it a break-even proposition. But the city is protected, and we're backstopped by the provision that Amcor will write us a check for the delta between these things. All we did was agree to invest the local construction sales tax per the law and per the DA, and we agreed to work with Amcor to enter into this agreement with the state in order to help recover the money to offset those costs of public infrastructure. But either way, the city is protected and backstopped. Okay? The purpose of the IGA is pretty straightforward, and the Department of Revenue has been fantastic to work with on this. They gave us templates to work from. We drafted an IGA. It went very, very smooth. There was a little bit of back and forth on the agreement, but essentially all this agreement does is facilitates the backbone of 425032.02. So it just creates the provisions for it. It identifies the capital investments and identifies the prime contractor. So Amcor had to give an attestation that they're going to spend $500 million. They had to list out the prime contractors who are going to be paying taxes. That way, ADOR could set up a protocol for them to report the taxes in a specific way so they can account for it, because they're going to use those taxes to create the reimbursement. It defines the public infrastructure project. So we've listed every public infrastructure project that supports Amcor. Lake Pleasant Parkway, Amcor Way, underlying water, underlying sewer, right? In essence, we put in $238 million worth of projects because that's what we're going to deliver, okay? And then it established the process of reporting, collecting the revenues, and distributing the reimbursements between Peoria and ADOR, okay? ADOR's already signed their copy. I think that was in your packet. Now it comes for council to vote. But essentially, this is in our partnership with Amcor to help generate state reimbursement, because the state sees the benefit in investing in mega projects like Amcor, because it creates local jobs and it grows the local economy. With that, the staff recommend that the council adopt Resolution 2025-108 and approve the intergovernmental agreement with the Department of Revenue. With that, Mayor, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm going to go to a friend. Felicia, would you like to ask a question?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is just a clarification question because I am a little confused. How is AMCOR related to the PIC or Peoria Innovation Corps, and what makes it so important to the city?
How long do I have, Mr. Mayor? Oh, okay, I'll do my best. Felicia, that's a fantastic question. AMCOR is related to the Peoria Innovation Corps because we worked a deal with AMCOR. They originally bought 56 acres of land in Vistancia, which is a master plan community about 5 miles west. And through a lot of work and energy between the city and AMCOR, we essentially deemed that their growth necessitated more property. And ultimately, when the city purchased 800 acres in the Peoria Innovation Corps on August 27th, it allowed us to do a land swap where we traded property. They had 56 acres worth a lot of money, and we had 100 acres worth less money, and we traded those properties. So essentially, we are now the owner of their original 56-acre parcel, and now they are the owner of 100 acres in the Peoria Innovation Corps. So that's how they got associated with it. And because of their move to the Peoria Innovation Corps, it now allowed them to invest. They originally committed to invest $2 billion and 2,000 jobs in our city. Because we moved them, they were able to further grow their business, and they've committed to investing $7 billion and create 3,000 jobs. And so it was just a fantastic opportunity. Now, why is AMCOR so important? I believe that was your second question. Currently, our largest private employer in the city, I believe, is 514 employees, give or take.
A little bit more. Yeah.
Okay. AMCOR will represent, the largest private employer in the city by a factor of 4. Number one. Number two, it really places Peoria in a prime spot within the Arizona, being the fact that AMCOR is one of the largest economic development projects that have been done in the state. And so really it has cemented us as a city that other companies want to do business with. Prior to our AMCOR deal, people did not look at Peoria as a place for jobs. And we know that 85% or more of our citizens leave the city. Some of those citizens want options closer to home. We believe there was a more balanced approach of bringing jobs here. We also know that daytime employment creates opportunities for retail sales, restaurants, and daytime tax generation. And that's critical for our city because if you only have residential, if you only have homes, you cannot generate enough taxes to pay for all the cool police stuff that we learned about a little bit ago, right? And so we need to pay for it because apparently they're doing more of it, so we need to get more money. So it's important because if your city is not growing its tax base, meaning you're creating volume of taxes, you only have 2 options left. You either have to cut the services to your community, means you have to reduce the toys that the police officers get, you have to stop servicing your parks, you have to reduce the quality of work, that's an option, or you have to increase the tax rate, right? So the strategy has been increase the tax volume so that we generate the cash in order to pay for services without having to cut the quality of services or increase the tax rates, which in a community like ours is not a palatable situation. Does that answer your question? Brilliant.
Great economics lesson.
Any other questions?
Anyone? Perfect. Great presentation. Thank you. Council, do I have a motion to approve agenda item 11R?
So moved.
Sounds like I have a first and second. Second. Please vote.
Councilmember Dunn, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And it passes 7-0. Thank you. And with that, we will take a 5-minute recess. City Manager, Mr. Henry Darwin, to introduce 12R.
Thank you, Mayor. Agenda item 12R is the intergovernmental agreement with Westmec for a ground lease. And we have this evening with us our Economic Development Director, Maria Loeffner, who is going to present for your consideration. Maria.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Beck and council members. I'm very excited to be here. That's why I almost preempted Mr. Faust earlier. I couldn't wait to tell you about this great item. But no, in all honesty, we're very delighted to be here with you today to request your approval on the Westmec IGA and ground lease for land up in Vistancia. So as economic development is one of City Council's strategic priorities, economic development created our own strategic plan that identified 4 particular goals, one of which is addressing workforce gaps. And these are things that we've been working on for a period of 5 years. Well, it started 1 year, we're in the 2nd year. And already this year, this is the 2nd time that we are coming to you to do something to address workforce gaps. And that is to sign an intergovernmental agreement and ground lease with Westmec. So who is Westmec? Westmec is the Western Maricopa Education Center. They are the premier career and technical education partner in the West Valley. They serve all of the West Valley with the 12-member school districts. They currently have 5 campuses. They have over 35 different programs, and 45,000 students are enrolled in Westmec, of which 20% are actually Peoria residents. So this is a very important program that we have at our disposal, and that's another reason why I'm so excited to be here today to talk to you about this 2nd agreement. So the property that we're looking at today is at 5 North in Vistancia. It is seen there on the map on the southwest corner of that 56 acres that the city acquired in August of this year. You also will know, as I mentioned, that this is the 2nd agreement. The 1st agreement that City Council approved was in February of this year, and that was for 14 acres of land at Peoria and 95th Avenue. So after that was approved, there was a lot of enthusiasm, and we entered into negotiations with Westmec almost immediately to talk about the potential of a 2nd campus in Peoria up north. They were interested in Vistancia, and when push came to shove, we were able to figure out a way to get them up in our 56 acres to occupy 7 acres up there right next to the ALA, and then provide additional programming for the other employers that were coming into the area, such as Honor Health that we're working with. So this intergovernmental agreement and ground lease is very similar to the one that was approved back in February. It has various responsibilities that Westmec has to deliver, and then responsibilities that the city has to deliver. Westmec's responsibilities relate to leasing the subject property, as well as acquiring board approval for the project to seek bond funding, which is actually on the ballot tonight, so keep your fingers crossed. And then they're supposed to acquire permit and develop the project site to permit students to enroll in July of 2029. That means that the facility will be fully open and operational as of the 29-30 academic school year. And the final responsibility under this IGA is that they will establish at a minimum 1 or more programs, which include nursing services, medical assisting, pharmacy science, medical laboratory science, or some other medical program. And the reason for that is we are also seeking to bring an Honor Health facility adjacent to the proposed Westmec site. For the city's responsibilities, the first one is to replat that 56-acre parcel so that we can carve out a 7-acre parcel at that southwest corner for Westmec to have as their site. And we're looking to have that done by the end of this calendar year. The other 2 responsibilities are the same as from the previous IGA, and that's the waiver of all fees and charges except for mandatory charges, and to lease the subject property to Westmec, which I'm hoping you'll vote yes tonight. Finally, the terms and conditions for the IGA and ground lease, there are 3. The first is the lease rate will be same as for the one for Peoria Avenue, $300,000 annually, paid annually with a 2.5% annual increase that starts in year 4. The second term is the lease term, which is 10 years, with a purchase option at any point during that term. And finally, the funding. You know, as I mentioned, the funding, the bond is on is being voted on tonight. If it does fail, this lease NDA will terminate. So with that, our recommendation is that City Council adopts this ordinance so we can enter into an IGA with Westmec. I believe there's a question coming up at the Vistancia site. Are there any questions?
Council, any discussion? Councilor Bullock.
Thank you very much, Maria. So I'm a huge CTE fan. I always have been since my Peoria school board days because college isn't for every kid. CTE is a huge part of what we're trying to do for workforce development. So as we look at Westmec, and you talked about, you know, we hope things will go well tonight at the election, but elections being what they may.
Mm-hmm.
The lease rate of $300,000, give me an idea of how close that is to market rate, and how do we are we using market rate based on other properties in 5 North? Just a basic idea of, or is it, this sounds dumb, an educational discount, or are they paying market rate?
So we are using the same dollar amount that was used at the 95th Avenue in Peoria site. We wanted to maintain that lease so that it would be consistent for them and for their planning purposes. It was not based on an appraisal that was done. It's just a rent rate, and we fully expect to be able to sell the property to Westmec at some time in the future, at which point there will be a market analysis done.
Youth Liaison Annika, would you like to have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. So my question was, how can the success of this ground lease and development of these new programs be measured to make sure they provide long-term workforce and economic benefits for the young people in this community?
That's a great question, Annika. Thank you so much. It actually relates to the economic development goal for addressing workforce gaps. What we're looking to get out of this relationship is to allow Westmec to be successful, and successful for them is having students enrolled. We know they have 45,000 students and growing, because the West Valley is growing, who are currently enrolled in Westmec. 20% of those are Peoria students. Imagine if you had a closer campus. What else could you get, especially with the growth that's occurring in the Northwest Valley? We know that there will be more families coming to the Northwest Valley that are looking for different opportunities provided through career and technical education. So for us, having those students graduate from that program, together with their certificates and the credits that they might get that they can use to go forward into other careers, as well as identifying how they can have internships with some of the employers that we're bringing to the area, such as AmCor, such as Honor Health. That is how we're going to measure the success, seeing that students are using the campus and they are able to find jobs in Peoria businesses. You're welcome.
We have one speaker request, Mr. John Forsyth.
Good evening. I'm John Forsyth. First, want to say I'm really astonished at how far the citizens are, especially some very well-educated citizens, and our government when it comes to reporting facts. Now, let's talk about Westmec. I'm generally agreeable that we need additional education sources. I mean, just last week, Amazon announced that they were going to reduce their white-collar workforce by 10%, 30,000 jobs. So AI is taking over the world. White-collar jobs are going to be going down, so we need to educate our children to do trades. But I want to use the last Westmec deal as a blueprint, or one that isn't so good moving forward. And unfortunately, Westmec is caught in the middle of this. This council voted unanimously to approve the South Peoria branch of Westmec. Now, some things that we now know, which we didn't know in February, have come to light. Vote, which was 7-0. Now, the only allegation I'm going to bring forward is from an twice ex former city employee. And it relates to Jason Beck owning the property directly adjacent to the Peoria West Mech. Now that property, because it's on the corner, holds the zoning rights to all of that property.
Oh, I love this so much. It's going to be perfect.
Great.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
The one thing.
Beck did not tell us that he owned that property. Beck did not recuse himself from the vote. He voted yes. And now we have learned back in time that he purchased this property 1 year before he was elected mayor in November of 21. He had it resurveyed same month that it was in February, that all this was going on. All these coincidences in politics just don't happen. And he's been campaigning heavily for the bond for West Mech. So you have personal gain.
Oh, totally. Can totally see your point.
Today is election day. We're voting on another West Mech property when in hours, tomorrow, we're going to learn the outcome of this bond election. Now, Peoria is heavily Republican. Republicans are known for not voting for school bonds. But we're in a hurry to do things. This council doesn't make a lot of choices that make sense in life. Additional transparency. Additional transparency. We don't have that in this city. Transparency with the citizens is non-existent. I've asked for more information on this and I received zero. I'm sure you know that. So, unfortunately, it's hard to support a project when I know people are personally benefiting from the outcome of an election that's occurring tonight. And we're doing another deal that's very, very similar. Thank you.
So I would like 3 people to come to the dais, please. Mr. Jermo? Is Mr. Austin Rowe in the room? So clearly we have people that suffer from BDS in this room. That would be Beck derangement syndrome, just for the main character syndrome issue that you have, Mr. Forsyth. So where I'm going to start with this is on a specific date. Do you mind coming to the dais, please? To address Mr. Forsyth's issue of me profiteering from a project, can you tell me, Mr. Faust, whose office we actually had a meeting in specifically about this topic?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to share the whole story and the facts. So prior to the transaction associated with the West Mech at 95th Avenue in Peoria, the city approached Mr. Beck and said, hey, in order for us to be able to develop the 14 acres appropriately, we would like to enter into a deal for the zoning rights, the CC&Rs for that particular property. Mr. Beck at that time said there was no need for a deal. Mr. Beck donated $1 to the city, and the city purchased the rights to those CC&Rs for the 14-acre parcel from Mr. Beck for the cost of $1. That discussion happened in my office. That discussion was codified in writing. That conversation was witnessed by the city attorney, Emily Jermu, and Austin Rowe, here to my left, who can confirm that that conversation took place. And the donated $1, I believe there's actually a photograph of the transaction of that dollar demonstrating that after the dollar was donated, the CC&Rs were purchased for the cost of $1.
From the donated $1 that I actually gave.
That is correct, sir.
Right. Now, why would I do that? Do you remember the conversation at all?
Specifically, it was because of the benefits of CTE and the idea of having a West Mech located in South Peoria specifically, and the benefits that it would bring to the community, and the necessity of the city retaining the CC&Rs at the 14-acre property in order to make that reality.
Now, so everybody has a baseline of this. My company won a bid before the election to actually acquire the rights to be able to purchase this property. And because of that, 14 acres, we went down this path and actually spent a tremendous amount of money trying to develop this and actually work this. Councilmember Dunn at the time actually will remember this because we were looking at creating jobs and education. Those are the two things we were trying to focus on and not have apartments go into that area. Specifically, that's what we were trying to do because the city prior was actually looking at putting bulk apartments into that area specifically. I wanted to create jobs. That was the path we were trying to go down. We're education, and that's why I asked these three to be here because these three actually saw exactly what I did. So, Mr. Forsyth, I realize that you have extreme BDS issues. The problem that you have with this is my goal is I don't profit from the city. Thank you for standing in here. I don't profit from the city, which is exactly why I did exactly what I did and made sure that the city actually owned the CC&Rs. And I had an attorney. I believe there's an actual document with me signing it that's actually in possession of the actual city attorney at this time. So thank you. Appreciate that. So with that, the idiocy. Council, do I have a motion to approve agenda item 12R?
Move to approve. Second.
Please vote.
Councilmember Dunn, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And it passes 7-0. Thank you. I now recognize City Manager Mr. Henry Darwin to give his report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a short report this evening. I have one slide and one video. I know it's as important to council as it is to me that we create a positive work environment for our staff and our employees. When we support them, they support us, and we have reaped the benefits of that for the past 2+ years. I also want to acknowledge that Mayor Pro Tem Finn regularly asks that we be, I think the term they use is employer of choice. And so just recently we were recognized for the fourth time, the fourth consecutive year of being the best place to work in the West Valley by the Times New Media Group. I just want to thank council for their support and also, more importantly, thank our staff for helping make this a wonderful place to work. In receiving this award just as recognition of something that we all know and experience working here at the city. Then next, I just want to share with the council and the public a few special events coming up in the winter of this year. That is my report for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Felicia Holly.
So, Youth Advisory Board, we just had our committee meetings on October 27th, and each committee has been working on their own separate projects. For civic engagement, we are working a lot for Youth Government Day, trying to figure out the agenda and what we want to do for that. Community services, trying to plan more events where we can go help out around the city of Peoria. And I believe Outreach is working on more social media posts so we can get the Youth Advisory Board out there. And another thing is we have officially found out that we are going to the NLC Congressional City Conference in Washington, D.C. this March. And we are trying to figure out which members of the board will be going.
Annika?
We are also going to be starting our presentations to 8th graders in the Peoria Unified School District, where we educate them about civic engagement and how they can be involved in the city as well.
Thank you. Mayor's report. Let's see, are we doing that part at the end? No? So, recently our council had the opportunity to unveil the naming of the William L. Patenna Community Center in honor of former councilmember Bill Patenna. First, we have a short video from this event, and then I would like to recognize Councilmember Patenna to come up and say a few words.
It's with immense pride and heartfelt appreciation that we gather today to officially dedicate the newly renamed William L. Patenna Community Center. This will be a lasting tribute to Councilmember Patenna's extraordinary legacy and his unwavering dedication to the Peoria people.
How do we impact the next person up? How do we impact somebody how do we make a difference in somebody else's life? And sometimes that's as simple as creating a resource center or making sure that you're opening the door for somebody else. It's their job to go through it, but you doing that and making that happen here and being such a big part of it changes lives. It has changed lives. And so from me to you, from our council to you, you have been a meaningful part of this city in so many ways. We miss your laughter. We miss you telling jokes, or as we would say, like, where did that come from? After a council meeting. That's one of the things that was so great working with you for even the 2 years that you were on, but also just being hopefully a lifelong friend that somebody truly, truly appreciates what you brought to other people. So thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing him with the city as long as you did. Today is exactly what it's supposed to be.
I have a few words I'd like to say. It says, I stand before you today deeply honored by this incredible gesture. To Mayor Beck, City Manager Henry Darwin, Peoria City Council, and staff, thank you from the bottom of my heart for renaming this community center after me. But renaming this community center is not just about me, it's about all of us. A place where children learn, families gather, and where dreams are nurtured. This center represents the spirit of our community. To have my name associated with that spirit is a privilege I will never take lightly. Thank you for believing in me and for believing in what this community center stands for. I am forever grateful. On a very personal note, I spent 30 years with the city. Obviously, I love the city of Peoria. I love the residents here as well. I worked I worked under 5 mayors, 6 city managers, a number of police and fire chiefs, and I worked with an amazingly talented and hardworking staff, along with a very gifted senior staff, and that's what keeps this machine running, making Peoria the wonderful city that it is today. To have my name associated with this city is, I believe, the culmination of a wonderful career. To everyone responsible for making this happen, know that I will be forever grateful. Thank you.
So with that, Councilmember Patenna, would you like to come up and speak?
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to be here this evening. My speech is short. It's been a long evening, and you heard enough from me there, so I'll try to make this quick. But I think it's important enough for me and my family to be able to thank all of you personally, and that's why I'm here. So I'm deeply honored and humbled by the decision to rename the community center after me. My heartfelt thanks to Mayor Beck, City Manager Henry Darwin, Peoria City Council and staff for this incredible recognition. This gesture means more to me than words can express. I'm grateful to be part of the community that values connection, services, and legacy. Thank you for this lasting tribute. I am forever grateful. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir. Present this after. We have a plaque. Bill, we have a plaque. You want to do photos after, you want to do photos of this afterwards, after the council? If you can stick around, yeah. Veterans Day celebration, every Veterans Day, Peoria honors those who have served in the U.S. Armed Services with the remembrance ceremony on Veterans Honor Wall at Rio Vista Park, Community Park. I hope you will join us on Tuesday, November 11th at 8:30 as we pay respects to all of those who served in defense of freedom. I know Councilmember Patena is usually there for first thing, and I believe your dad was added this year as well, right? So thank you, and we hope to see everyone there. With that, next on the agenda is call to the public. As a reminder, each speaker will refrain from personal attacks, foul, abusive language, and will maintain a civil and courteous manner and tone. Members of the audience shall respect the rights of others and will not create a noise or disturbances that will disrupt or disturb the meeting. Ms. Shannon Semo.
Hi, I took the back road in today and I was able to see City Hall and it looks nice. I don't know if it was necessary to redo it, but the windows do look nice. Second thing I'd like to talk about is I had a whole thing and then Mike did his presentation, and from what I understand, because it's in a foreign trade zone, there are tax breaks that companies can get in terms of property tax and whatnot. There was also something mentioned about the money being allocated to the schools. There's no guarantee with that money because it goes to the state that it will come to Peoria schools. The 3,000 jobs that are estimated, from what I understand, AMCOR is only required, at least at the time when it was at Estancia, upon completion only have 850 employees. And everything that I've read and all the podcasts I've listened to, they are moving very quickly toward automation. So those jobs, the 3,000 jobs in essence, will be short-term benefit economically, but long-term it won't be there necessarily because all of the tax revenue is coming from the actual building of the building and not necessarily long-term because of the FTZ. I have noticed in my research that private equity is playing a very large role in reshaping Peoria. And I know that a lot of those private private-public partnerships, especially the Echo off of 91st Avenue between Peoria and Grand, that's an extended stay, is not actually owned by Wyndham. It's actually owned by a franchisee, and that franchisee is also a private equity firm, and that private equity firm is in Virginia. They don't necessarily have people on the ground to make sure that extended stay suite doesn't turn into like the extended stay suites off of the 101 and the 17 by the Honor Health right there. That place is a mess. I used to live off of very briefly off of 51st Avenue and Union Hills, and I used to go to that Target all the time, and that extended stay was a nightmare. And everybody knows that extended stays usually are a little bit of a drug den sometimes, or not always what they're promised to be initially. And my concern is because they are franchisees and they are a private equity group, they will not be able to monitor and make sure that extended stay stays the way it should be, instead of making more problems in an area that already has a lot of issues. I don't think that private partnerships, private-public partnerships are always the best way to bring revenue into a city. I think it creates more problems instead of solving them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Miss Natalie Gilstrap.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Natalie Gilstrap. I just wanted to say congratulations to the City of Peoria and the Police Department on their real-time crime center. The accolades and national awards sound amazing. Love the presentation. My only question or concern is whether or not the data and information or even access to the center will be shared or given to ICE operations within the city. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Mr. John Forsyth.
Since I always like starting off with quotes, just don't act like sheep because your shepherd is a tyrant. With that being said, there's not a court in this country, whether it's a court of law or the court of public opinion, that will take transparency tonight to revert all the way back to February 11th. That's just not realistic. Plenty of politicians recuse themselves, say that information to the public that is relevant. So it's nice that you had an excuse and that you're good at CYAing, but it is what it is. Hundreds, if not thousands of Peorians wanted me to mention this. And it is from that August 28th meeting, saying that the city was blessed by God, everything coming in line to move Amcor. I graduated Brophy. I've had a lot of religious training in my lifetime. And I'm positive God does not bless activities like this. I've asked the city for transparency on this, and I get none. What is the cost to the citizens of the city of Peoria? I'm estimating $100 million to move Amcor, but I've yet to get an answer. The city promised Amcor a pad-ready build site. So are the citizens paying for the grading that's happening right now? There's no answers to that. This entire year I have complained that we don't really live in a democracy here in the city of Peoria. There's been one no vote this entire calendar year. Again, tonight, unanimous. Danette Dunn was the only one that voted no, because I guess you didn't allow her to speak. Stolen valor in the DD 214. You've elected to run for re-election. It is your responsibility to clarify what is going on with that. I know you don't have a DD 214 because you weren't active service. You have to be active service to get that. So, there we go. People of Peoria deserve to know if it's accurate or not, what you've been saying. Vanessa Hickman, a lot of talk about this. There's a lawsuit against Vanessa Hickman. Now, I FOIA'd the receipts from Fenimore Craig, $513,000. I haven't gotten any response to which one of these are not related to her case. We're trying to collect $138,000. The lawyers would have sent Jason Beck a letter saying they do not advise going forward with this. This is $1 million case that most likely you're going to lose. Spending in Peoria is up 54%. City of Scottsdale, sister city, is flat. Scottsdale's concerned about unsustainable financial imbalance. City of Peoria, $1.21 billion budget with less than half of that, $589 million of projected revenue. We got a lot of problems and we have no transparency.
Might be a mental health professional that needs to be seen. Thank you for your comments, sir. And with that, we are adjourned.